Hi everyone, welcome back to Front Page MMA. Today we're joined by UFC light heavyweight Sam Alvey. Sam, how are you?
Doing wonderful, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thank you for your time, first of all. My first question is, how's your training been kind of affected by having to stay indoors with this quarantine and not being able to go to the gym?
Yeah, I've not been able to go to the gym. I've been making it work. I was having a great camp. Everything's been going very well. I had a lot of people to work with, a lot of places to get my work done.
Fair enough. Well, you're supposed to be fighting Khalil Roundtree, which changed kind of not too long ago to Ryan Spann. I was going to ask, when you have such a kind of short notice to change of opponent, how does that affect sort of your mental preparation for going into a fight?
I should ask you, have you heard the other news?
Yeah, that it's off. Yeah.
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 I was gonna say, the short notice fight, it's fine with me. I had a lot of time to prepare for Khalil. Khalil was a very dynamic fighter. Ryan Spann, very talented, very big. It was a completely different fight.
Yeah.
But I've kind of, at this point, I've got 70 fights or something close to it. A lot of them have been last minute, late notice. And I've enjoyed doing it every time. So I've kind of fought a little bit of everyone, and you can switch opponents on me, and I've probably fought someone just like him before.
Well, that kind of answers my next question as well. I was going to ask, like you said, Khalil Roundtree, he's a stand-up fighter. He's trained out in Thailand. Obviously, he's sharpened up his Muay Thai skills a lot. Then you have Ryan Spann, who's submitted like 14 of his 18 wins has been guillotine finishes. So how do you change from like a stand-up opponent to a kind of submission expert?
He's tricky because his stats aren't quite true. He's a stand-up guy who's got a good guillotine.
Right.
He's got a very tall. I mean, I've seen him off his back, and he's as good as anybody, but he's not the world's greatest off his back guy. What he's good at is that guillotine from standing. So it was really trying to work on not getting in that guillotine for a week, and I had most of a week to work on it, and I was getting pretty good at it. And the goal was to definitely not get caught in it on the 18th if that fight were to happen.
Yeah. So is that fight going to still go ahead? Is it going to be moved to when like Fight Island comes around? Do you want to have a go at that?
I hope that fight continues. I like that matchup against Spann. Spann seemed like a great guy. It seemed like it was going to be a really entertaining fight. But I have no idea. I don't know what to expect.
What are your general thoughts on Fight Island? That's a wacky idea. So what are your thoughts on it?
Oh, that Fight Island, that's the greatest idea I've ever heard. I can't believe they've not done it before. I didn't know it was a possibility until he mentioned it. It's like, oh my goodness, that would be like the greatest thing in the entire world. I would try and fight. 30 years from now when I can't fight anymore, I'm going to try and be a janitor at Fight Island. That's going to be my goal. It's that Fight Island that's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
So it's safe to say you want to compete on Fight Island?
Yes, I want to fight. And it's an island, so I could theoretically fight 4 times in one night. They could do a tournament like that on this Fight Island. I would be all about that.
So I was going to ask you, obviously before you heard the news that the fight was off, how was your weight? Because obviously there's a lot of people that are kind of stuck inside, and I know it's up to you how much you stay inside, but with a lot of people being stuck in houses led to them eating a lot more food, and kind of the diet's kind of suffered a little bit.
I have had no problem with my weight. I've been staying pretty active. It was honestly I was on par to be the easiest weight cut I was ever gonna have. It was going really easy for me.
Oh, that's good to hear then. I didn't know if maybe you'd succumb to having a couple extra bits of junk food or whatever indoors. Well, before the fight was called off, and like in the middle of all the uncertainty, how was the UFC in terms of their communication? How kind of easy was it for you to kind of not know what's happening? Were they keeping you informed?
Yes and no. They didn't know what was happening, and so I didn't know what was happening. But they were definitely in touch telling me that they didn't know what was happening. So they were keeping me up to date on everything they knew. They were being very good to me that route, but they just didn't know that much. And finally, I'll bet you it was the hour that it came to fruition, they were in contact with me telling me, hey, Ryan Spann's the man.
I had you on the podcast not long ago, and at that point you were going to be fighting Shogun Rua in Brazil. Sadly, obviously that fight fell apart, but is that one that you'd want to get back again? Because obviously Shogun's...
Man, I would love to fight Shogun. I fought so many of those amazing Pride Time fighters in my career so far. He's one of the few that are still standing. He's one of the few that could still beat me up if he had the chance. So I would love the opportunity to step in the octagon with Shogun.
Would you like to kind of get that fight after all this madness is over, have it in the USA, or would you rather have that on Fight Island? Is that one you'd like on
Fight Island? Every fight I ever have from China, Fight Island.
Fight Island. Yeah. You're a big fan of that idea then. I've remembered the question that I forgot. I was going to say, in the middle of all the kind of uncertainty, was the possibility of kind of not being paid a stress for you, or did you know that eventually the UFC would kind of make it right? And obviously Dana White announced that yesterday that they would.
I didn't know anything was going to happen, but I have faith in the company. The UFC has been so good to me throughout my career that they've always stepped forward. They've always done everything they could to put me first. So I didn't know anything, but I had faith that once everything was settled down, that they'd help me out. But there was stress involved. It was all right. If they, the thought is, all right, if they don't pay me, and I guess they don't have to. I didn't fight for them, but if they don't pay me, let's see, Costco and Amazon, they're hiring, and I can go get a job there.
Yeah.
And so I was running through the situations of where I was going to be applying next.
Is that, I don't know if I'm going over my head, but was that a joke, or were you actually ready to go and apply somewhere else?
Oh no, I put applications out. Yeah, I was applying around town for local stuff, and everyone I talked to, I said, just so you know, I might fight in a week. I don't know if I'm going to fight in a week, but I might not be able to start until after the 18th. And theoretically, it's still an option. I have no problems with going to get a real job. I haven't worked since June. I was supposed to fight Shogun, and I broke my hand, and that took me out for close to 6 months. And then I was fighting Khalil in March, and then that didn't happen, and now it's April, and I mean 2 months from now is the last time I fought, and so it's been too long since I've been to work. And as well as the UFC pays me, you can't last forever.
Yeah, very true. So clearly you're kind of itching to get back in there. If you were to take in either one of those fights, would you rather a fight with Ryan Spann, or would Khalil be a more appealing opponent? If you had your pick.
That's a good question. I don't know. I know Khalil was saying it was going to be his retirement fight, but Ryan Spann, he's the up and comer. He's the one everyone's kind of looking at. So both of them would have a lot of hype for me, and both fights I was very excited for. So I'm going to take the sissy way out and say I don't know which one I would have preferred. I was looking forward to both.
I was surprised when Khalil Roundtree said he planned on retiring, because I thought he looked really good. When he beat Eric Anders, I thought this guy looks like a serious contender now. But I suppose if his head's not there, then I mean it's the right thing to do, I suppose. That's kind of all the questions I have in terms of like current topics, but I'd like to ask some general questions about yourself anyway.
Yeah.
Now that I'm sure you'll agree, you're not getting any younger, I suppose, but at this stage in your career, what are your goals now? Do you still want to just become a champion, or you just want to rack up as many fights as you can, rack up as many wins as you can?
Listen, I could beat anyone on this planet. You give me the opportunity, I could knock Jon Jones out in the first. I could beat anyone, and I'm aware of that. I also know the last 3 fights have not gone so well for me. So my immediate goal is I got to get back in the win column. I get that win going. I get a couple knockouts. I just start lining them up. I'm never far from a title shot, and especially with as much as I like to fight. The title, as soon as I don't want to be the champion, I'll quit fighting. But I know good and well I'm better than almost everyone on this planet. I just gotta show it. I just gotta prove it while I'm in that cage.
So where do you feel like your last fights have went wrong? Is it just a matter of shit happens, or do you feel there's things that you maybe you could have done differently? Or
well, my first loss against Nogueira, my second loss against Crute, I got Mark Goddarded. That son of a gun. And I got hit first, so I mean I can't blame him entirely. But he didn't do me any favors by stopping the fight so incredibly early. And then I always say, yeah, he's a great referee too. Everybody should respect him.
Yeah.
The last fight was my bad. I thought I was up, and so I stopped pushing, and I shouldn't have. I should have been looking for that finish the whole time.
Yeah, well, fair enough. I mean, easy to say that now, I suppose, but when you're in there, I suppose your head must be all over the place. No matter how much experience you have, it must be a hard thing to think logically in there.
Yeah, and I got too comfortable because it was going well. I felt like I had hit him more. I felt like I hit him with bigger shots. I thought I was active enough. And then you get into the third round, I said, well, I'm probably up to, and we'll coast a little. And it was my fault. It was a brain fart for 15 minutes. And, I've worked on not letting it happen again.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Well, back to kind of Goddard and referee stoppages. I know you give him credit. He says a great ref, but there is such a fine line in terms of too early and not giving the fighter a chance, or too late and letting the fighter take unnecessary damage. So where do you sort of stand on referees kind of making? Would you rather it be too late and take more hits, but have a chance to go back into the fight?
No,
yeah.
There's not a fighter on this planet that would argue otherwise. No, I'm getting into that cage. I know what the possibilities are. I know my opponent's entire goal is to punch me in the head as hard as I can and try and for 15 minutes. If I kill the other guy, it happens. And for a referee to think, well, maybe he's taking another, no, let the fight end. Referees like Mark Goddard will never be the referee in a fight like Dan Henderson versus Shogun or Frankie Edgar versus Clay Maynard. If referees that their job shouldn't try and think out. Everyone, all the referees, they all cop out saying it's the fighter's safety is the number one thing, and it's not. I'm not doing the sport because I know it's safe. I'm doing the sport because I love to do it, because I know I'm one of the best fighters on the planet, and I've been given the platform to try and prove it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that's the referees. Get out of the fight. Stop it when I can't defend myself anymore, not when I'm not defending myself.
So you definitely prefer the sort of Mario Yamasaki approach to letting the fighter go out on their shield?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well,
absolutely. It would surprise me, and I would tease any fighter that said otherwise.
Yeah, I think you're right. The most 99% of fighters would be out of the same mindset you are, I imagine. One of the other questions I like to ask fighters: how was it back in the day that you first got into MMA and decided that's what you want to do and pursue it as a job, potentially?
Shoot, let's see. I've been fighting for getting close to 12 years now. It was probably 5 years into fighting when I first learned about the UFC. And I don't know, sometime after that, I said, well, keep doing that. It was just, I went to college, I graduated. I had no interest or no intention of being a fighter. But they kept paying me just enough to keep me around. And eventually I ended up in the UFC. Now I get to do what I absolutely love doing every day of the year.
Yeah, kind of seems like it was a bit of one of those things where you sort of just stumble into it and then hey presto.
I've said that before. I stumbled into the UFC, and it was the greatest mistake I've ever made.
Yeah, I'm sure most people would kind of wish that would happen to them as well. Just stumble into their dream job.
Right? It's a different time now. Like when I started 12 years ago, the UFC isn't what it is today. There was no Bellator, no PFL. Pride was still around. I didn't watch any of them, but it was the talent level of fighters was far less 12 years ago. It would be much harder for me to get into the UFC nowadays.
So obviously you've been through the UFC kind of through a number of different sort of eras, I suppose you could say. How do you feel about the current state of the UFC, where so much is put on the trash talk and the hype, or do you rather the more respectful kind of, well, I suppose you could say more old-fashioned approach to fighting, where it's all about respect?
I love good shit talk. I'm not a huge Conor McGregor fan, but I love the way he runs his mouth. It's it adds that little extra to the sport. It might not be needed, and the true martial artists will take offense to, oh no, it's just about martial arts. My martial art. We gotta make something people want to see, and that shit talking it sells fights. Chael Sonnen's probably the best at it that's ever been. Conor McGregor, he runs his mouth really well. The Diaz brothers, they've got kind of a weird trash talk game. It's like not trash talk, but it is. Y'all, they don't actually say anything insulting, but you feel insulted when they're done saying it. They sell fights well. I wish I was better at it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not in your personality, fans find it very easy, I think, to see through when someone's putting on a bit of bit of a front. I think at first when Kobe started taking
Yeah.
that road, people were slating him, but now people love it. So it can go either way, really.
Yeah, you just do it enough, and they'll have no choice but to like it.
Yeah, I suppose. Another question I like to ask fighters is, what is kind of one story you've got from your career, a funny weight cutting story? You don't have to name names if you don't want to name names, but a funny or intriguing story you have to do with weight cutting through your career.
Yeah. So most of my career I was I cut weight in the sauna. Almost even to this day, most of my career was a sauna cut. When I got into the Ultimate Fighter, I learned about the cutting weight in the bathtub. So from that point on, that's what I'll always do. But I had one fight down in Trinidad, and the fight didn't pay anything. It was like I had to pay for my corner to get there, and I think I got $800 if I won. But it was I got a free trip to Trinidad, and I got my wife as my corner person, so she and we got to go to Trinidad for free. And I called ahead, said, "Hey, to the hotel, you guys have a sauna, right?" I said, "Yeah, we have a sauna." I said, "Okay, fantastic." So I got there the next day, and it was time to cut weight, and there was no bathtub there. There was just a shower. But we went to the sauna, and they did have a sauna. It was just in pieces and it hasn't worked in years. So I just asked them the wrong question. So they didn't lie to me. They had a sauna, it just didn't work. So I ended up I ran for like 4 hours, just ran in a circle. I'd sprint down one side and jog until I made weight. It was the hardest. I mean, it was almost the hardest cut I've ever made.
I think you still made weight.
Yep, made weight. I did everything I had to, and it's something I'll probably never do again. I hope to never do again, but I made weight that time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What is it like having your wife in your corner? I know you mentioned there. Does it add a different kind of dynamic to having a fight and knowing that there's someone in the corner that you care about so much more than a coach?
She knows how I fight better than anyone else. I mean, she really does. She'll be able to read me. She'll be able to read the other guy better than just about anyone. So it's really I couldn't imagine it being any other way. I wouldn't have the career today if it wasn't for her.
Oh, right, okay. I know there's some fighters who wouldn't want to have that kind of added like emotional connection to the corner. Obviously, you have a nice bond with your coaches and stuff, but having your wife's a different ballgame. I think some fighters kind of feel an additional pressure fighting in front of the wife. So is that not something that sort of gets to you at all now?
Yeah, no, it doesn't get to me. I mean, shoot, she's there every day for practice. My kids are there every day for practice. And I guess that's a secret for me. Make the fight nothing different than a practice that you get paid for. And that's what I've always kind of done, kept everything as similar as I can.
Fair enough. If I remember correctly, when you were on the podcast, you mentioned how you've fostered quite a few kids, haven't you?
What's that?
Have you fostered quite a few children?
Fostered or fought?
Yeah, fostered.
Oh, okay. He says, "Yeah, I fight kids all the time." I have fostered one child who I still have. We're working on adoption, but we haven't quite. It's a long process.
So what age are they? I see the posters behind you.
Let's see. So my oldest is 6, then I have 5, then I have 3, then I have 9 months, then I have 10 months, and then I have 7 months or 8 months.
So how's it been sort of trying to keep everyone entertained in the house when like kind of schools are off and you can't really do the same sort of things any other time?
Yeah, we're keeping a fairly similar schedule. The hard part is we're adding school for Reagan. We need to now teach everything. But we keep joking. It's like she's going to go back to school knowing how to do math.
Yeah. Kind of the one kind of last question I suppose I have is a completely different subject again. Sorry, I'm chopping through these questions here.
No, chop away.
Another question I like to ask people is, if you could test yourself against any fighter, kind of past or present, just to kind of test your skills, who would you want to take on?
Shoot, I don't know. You could say one of those big names, the Chuck Liddell or the Tito Ortiz. I suppose Tito's still fighting. Whoever the champion is always kind of my answer. It's like it doesn't really matter to me who it is. Just if they have a belt, that's the guy I want to fight. That's the guy I want to be able to prove I'm better than.
So I know you mentioned Jon Jones earlier. So do you foresee a Jon Jones fight potentially in your future?
God, I hope so. And I would fight him. Oh, I would have so. He's the one fighter on the planet I'd be able to shit talk to for the entire fight camp. And I would have so much fun with that. So then I get to fight that cheater at the end of it.
Yeah. So I mean, It gives you plenty of material by himself, I suppose, to use against him. So he's his own downfall.
Yeah. I would have so much fun fighting him. The camp would be fun. The fight would be great.
So Jones versus Alvey on Fight Island. Expect it soon.
Yes.
Well, anyway, I've answered the questions. It's a little bit shorter than usual, but I mean, all I can do is thank you for coming on. Hope you stay safe and during all this virus, and then hopefully see you in the cage as soon as all this is blown over.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you so much, sir.
No problem. We'll have a good day, and I'll speak to you soon. Okay.
All right, you two. Or night. What time is it over by you?
It's 5 minutes to 8 at night time here.
Okay. Well, have a good night.
All right. Thank you. Right, I'll see you later. I'll speak to you soon.
Bye.